bash fest, but we got to start with IF, Fish and the Boys Cookies. Let's talk about them a little bit.
Oh, yeah. If you thought I was going to go easy, you're crazy. Wimpy. What do I have to say? Vivid. It seems like this team is stuck in 1968. Other than Fish. Fish seems to play Modern Siege correctly. He's having a good time. He's flying out. And I'm looking for IF as a team to maybe follow his lead. They stop following Vivid. Stop listening to him. And follow Fish. I think Fish should be the IGL captain and general manager. And commander-in-chief. They should follow Fish into battle like George Washington. That's what I think should happen for Investigation File. Because right now they're staring down the shotgun barrels of relegation if they don't win this game. This is actually the relegation battle for CL right now. It's pretty imperative. I told you guys there's only 8 days left. So there's not a lot of games.
I appreciated your reference that this isn't Siege from 1968, because I remember the stories my dad would tell me playing Siege back on his little black and white, TV. We're playing a different game today, Connor.
Yeah, and we could say, once again, maybe Karn is a little bit on the older side. I would say, I'll give him like a 1973. If, Vivid's back in 1968, Karn, he's in 1973, a little bit more advanced here on the overall meta. But with what we've seen from this...
At least it's in color.
Yeah, it is in color. That's a very, very big and important distinction here. But probably the biggest thing that we've seen with Unemployment was really struggling on both sides of the ball, the attack and the defense, all the way up until last week, where they put up a very impressive showing against Aqualix. I mean, sure, Aqualix, they haven't looked that great, and maybe it's kind of one of those games that everybody's going to look great against them, but there's still a lot of positives that you could take away and build off of, trying to build momentum going towards this next game. With Whitlock, he actually, even though he has a 0.9 rating, he doesn't necessarily have the best stats in the world. He looked pretty dang good, especially on the attacking half against Aqualix.
Now, what's interesting about this matchup, first off, going back to Investigation File Cookies, they're sitting in 5th on the stage at the moment. Last week, they beat the Favelas, who were sitting in 4th. So they took a piece out of someone just above them. So they've been pretty decent as of late.
Let me clarify. You said they're in 5th, 6th, 4th?
5th. Investigation Files in 5th at the moment.
That race between 5th and last is real tight in this game today. Especially for someone like CZ, who left Unemployment and also left Aqualix before. CZ's bouncing around. He's for the streets. CZ, if you want to prove that you're actually nasty, because we've been talking about how nasty he should be and off stream, this and that. When are we going to have the real CZ? If he comes out today and lays an egg against his former team, he might have to hang up the cleats. And also, IF. This is a team that has not played club since last stage where they got 7-0'd. And since they lost Unemployment in the last matchup between these two, it was a clubhouse game. You know how much we were ranting and raving? Forceful was literally just farting over the fact that someone let Karn's team go to clubhouse. It's not going to be IF today. IF doesn't really play club ever since the disaster of last stage. So we're going to see something different today, and they should be in the driver's seat in terms of the battlefield that we will be partaking in.
Okay, well, Unemployment, they had a 7-2 victory over Aqualix, Connor. But how much can you attribute to that? Aqualix has been struggling this stage.
I still think that there were really big positive aspects of Unemployment's game last stage, particularly in their early round aggression on their attacking side. It seemed like they actually had an entry player that was getting in the building, taking map control, and even if they weren't necessarily getting that opening kill, they were making the space. They were space makers. That's what we like to see. Sure, Tra was even getting involved in those opening engagements with holding the nice cutoffs. And on a map such as Clubhouse, that's good fundamental siege that you need to bring and can be applied to a lot of different maps. But now we got to talk about the maps. You're probably not going to Clubhouse, which is really unfortunate for the side of
I'm going to
Unemployment.
laugh so hard if you have to eat your words on that one, Connor. I'm just going to throw
I don't
that
know
out
what
there.
I don't know what I'll do if we go there, but there are a couple of maps that I still like for the side of Unemployment. I can actually see them shifting that map ban towards that favor.
Well, I mean, there's not much more I can say. I'll segue that. I'll leave Connor with the segue and move it over to Cookies because he set you up.
Alrighty. Thing is, Brimstone, we use analytics here in our analyst desk, and the analytics made it very obvious that Clubhouse just wasn't going to happen. Like, which is exactly what has happened, which, we're just geniuses. We'd call that IF fan club.
Wait, Cookies. You use I thought you guys just made. Oh, I was about to use a non-PG word there. I thought you made stuff up. You actually use numbers and analytics.
Like, based on like how we feel that particular day, we decide what teams. But no, like this is par for the course on the side of IF. Unemployment is honestly very boring in terms of maps. They only have like 4 maps to go on, okay, out of 9. But IF, they ban the new maps all the time, and they've been banning Clubhouse regularly. So that leads us to a villa where, quite frankly, neither team looked good the last time they played it. Both of them got absolutely biblicized by Reality TV and LG, respectively, on Villa. Now, this is a fresh new day. This is a new month. It's October 1st. It's 1:01 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's a new day. Who's going to come out and play a better Villa today? We're not worried about last week. We're not worried about last stage. And we're sure. I think Karn's gonna win this.
I'm a bit worried for you, Cookies. I think you're really going against. Actually, you know what, Connor? Every time he does this, he's right. But here's the problem, Connor. If either you or I or anyone else switches, well, then it's not just the Cookies vote. What do we do here?
One of the biggest things, I was already thinking that this was a 50-50 game, and looking at the map choice of Villa, we can say that both these teams did not have a very good showing last time they were on this map. However, CJ, what's easier to fix, attacks or defenses?
That's a trick question. Who are we talking about here?
Unemployment. For unemployment, what's easier to fix, their attacks or their defenses?
Their defenses where they let people just kind of plant and 4v4s,
yes.
Or their attacks where they...
Yes. I'll stop you right there. I'll stop you right there. I think their defenses will be easier to fix with how this team plays. And last time on Villa, they did not win a single defense on Villa. So if all they do is they maybe get 1 or 2 defenses, that's massive improvement. That might just be enough to take this game. Switch my vote, Preston. I'm joining CJ.
Hey, we're all at 65. I got to do it too then, because I need to be with the boys on this one. We are sinking or we are swimming together. Cookies, how does that make you feel?
I don't even have a word for it. I'm just so happy that you guys trust me.
Is it not cool to be for unemployment anymore? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, y'all could have let me have my moment, and y'all could have just let me create, but you didn't do that.
No.
So now,
Creators
I guess
plays for Viper.
He does.
Leave the puns to me, Connor. Okay, actually that was a good one. I gotta appreciate that one. Okay, unemployment right now, Cookies. Outside of the defense, is there any other reason or thing that they should fix, do, change, anything that's going to secure them this victory?
If we want to be really technical and sophisticated, I will say that they could. What's very fixable is just like, I don't know, they could put a bulletproof camera in the site somewhere, hide it, put a Valkyrie camera, maybe try and get Valkyrie up, use it, type of thing. More intel, so they're not just sitting here
getting
letting
planted
people
on
plant in their face. That was frustrating and it was irritating. Well, they can fix that. I mean, they'll look a lot better. This game's 92% intel, Brimstone, and if they fix that on the defensive half, things will go well.
And just before we get into it, Connor, as we said, this one's on Villa. Is this pretty much coming down to the fact of, for both of these teams, the devil if they're like, hey, you're bad, I'm bad, why don't we make this happen right now?
If that was the mantra, if that was the motto, then we probably would be seeing another Oregon. But that's not the case. Both these teams are slightly branching out. And what was interesting enough was Investigation File banning their own theme park that they actually looked pretty decent on, and Fish was flying out of windows and was like 5-0 on defensive entry. I definitely thought that was going to be potentially a map that we could have seen Unemployment maybe counter strat or do something interesting on and try to challenge Investigation File, but that wasn't in the cards. Investigation File just removed it themselves, so that was interesting. Once again, that is kind of a very telling sign of, hey, both these teams, they want to branch out. They're not just Club and Oregon teams anymore. Maybe there's a giant asterisk on that because we might just still see a horrible game.
We'll have to see. The only thing left to do is go to Villa. We are going to throw it to our lovely casters, Crow and Fellow. We'll see you all after.
So, John, we got a
Yes.
bit of a mid-off between IF and unemployment.
I
Now,
guess you say that.
normally we wouldn't say mid-off because one team is mid and one team is, in 8th. The reason why I say that is specifically because the map Villa, we saw both of these teams very nearly get 7-0'd. Both of them on this map. Although unemployment was a lot closer, suffering a 6-0 half, while IF still got 5-1. So I guess IF marginally better. Maybe we give the edge to them.
And I think overall, a lot of the rounds that, for IF, once they lost, at the beginning they looked good. They would secure a couple of good entry kills against God P when they played this map all the way back at the beginning of stage 3. And then it just kind of went downhill because Mr. B or someone else, like Gavin, for example, would just wide swing and then work back a kill. And then all of a sudden you lose that map control, you lose that tempo, you have to reset at a 2v2, and you still need to clear the actual bomb site. So if unemployment do not bring their A game today, I think we could definitely see a very strong showing here for investigation file, especially if you have Fish pop off the way he has been a little bit later in stage 3 so far. Because at the beginning, he was a little bit cold, but now he's being enabled more on that entry roll. He's staying alive a lot longer in these rounds. So there is a lot of good potential for investigation file. But in the same sentence, unemployment, again, if they bring their A game, like they did against Aqualix on Clubhouse, they could be some serious competition.
Yeah, Fish has been a standout performer for his team so far. He is rated at a 1.30, 56 and 37. John, listen to this. He has a 2.0 entry KD. He is 14 and 7, so he's been a driving force, and he's by far and away the best player on the team. The second place player is Wimpy with a 1.0. Everyone else is negatively rated, but unemployment hasn't been as good. Their highest rated player, Tra, 32 and 30, 4 and 7 on entry. He's a 1.0. Everyone else is beneath him, although they were a little closer together. They're all in the 0.9, 0.8 range, whereas IF is a little more spread apart. But we'll get started with AVG, the tried and true bomb site of Villa. And I do like the Valkyrie ban for IF because, as the desk mentioned, unemployment have had a lot of struggle with info, both on the attack and on the defense. IF are bringing that mute. They're probably going to be looking to control this drone game while they're on the defense, and then when they're on the attack, they won't have to worry about those black eyes.
And I'd have to say as well, for their attacking ban, the Nook, that is definitely going to help Fish prolong his very extensive roam plays. Again, you kind of let Fish off the leash from time to time, and he can just land these incredible shots and do a lot of good heroic plays to make sure you can get that first entry kill, or during the late round, you could have some sort of flank up potentially as well. So being on the alibi where you just kind of have utility that's more or less set or forget, that can be a really good environment for Fish, especially if he has to worry a lot less about some sort of lurk game during the earlier mid round, which can be great for dealing with any kind of roam game that just have good information or is caught at a bad time on some sort of rotation. For the rest of the composition here for IF, it seems like they have a lot of utility that they can bring out during the late round. So when they fall back off that previously mentioned roam game, they're going to have a lot of stall potential in case unemployment wastes too much time in that early game and will get caught lacking because of that. But great opening duel by Inrio. Whitlock had no idea what just hit him.
Yeah, speaking of getting caught lacking, I mean, the words just came out of your mouth. He was sitting there right next to the barricade. Whitlock was none the wiser. No trade came in because no one was deep enough into art yet, but CZ takes the fight off the shield on main stairs. Unwise decision. Free kill for Tra, and that man count has just been evened up. There is someone looking to take the place of CZ, though. Vivid, again, that smoke, the perfect operator played this main stairs shield. He can stall so much time, but doesn't look like he's too interested in going down there. Next, you've got Wimpy and Fish both flanking in from library side. Wimpy catches Tra unaware. A nade goes in from Brios to try and flush him out, but he's met with an explosive of Wimpy's own. 2 kills downstairs for the mute. Inrio almost gives his life up, but for now, it's a 4v2 in the favor of the defense.
Yeah, perfect nitro cell toss out by Wimpy, now able to isolate 2 separate players. Unemployment now at a complete standstill. Even if they kill Wimpy, they still have to focus on Fish, who is now back up this roaming mute underneath. But besides that, it's still a 4 versus 1 at the end of the day. Make it a 4v0 as Wimpy confirms a third on this round. Just seemed like the coordination there wasn't fully up to snuff for unemployment. They weren't able to do a good job of I guess, cross-coordinating onto that low mute. And then finally, once he was able to reset himself, get that secondary nitro cell kill, and having backup by Fish, there really were little to no options left for Unemployment. They had gained pretty much no map control. They still had the same extensions to deal with. A really good roam game off the top of the round for Investigation File, especially since in a lot of those engagements, they kind of had the element of surprise, especially that opening kill by Inrio onto Whitlock, as for the most part, you're never going to expect anyone to be playing that close to the main double kill.
Yeah, and it just means, right? What does being surprised in this game mean, John?
I'm sorry, I think you cut out a little bit during the first half. Can you repeat the question?
Did I? Well,
You might.
I don't know if I cut out for the viewers, but if I cut out in TeamSpeak, John,
probably-
I
you
asked you, if you get surprised in the game of Siege, what does that mean?
You probably die.
Not only does it mean you die, usually, of course, it also means, I mean, the fact that you're getting surprised in the first place, you didn't know about it, which means you didn't drone it. What are Unemployment doing? They didn't drone main door before they opened it. How is Wimpy allowed to push up all the way into library? Where are the flank drones? Maybe they were flank drones, and Whitlock wasn't watching it? I don't know. But they had a dead player. They should have known, and you could see clearly the way Tra walked into that, he had no idea. And Investigation are going to try and keep that element of surprise, a spawn peek from Wimpy. It does not, however, find anyone, at least not yet. Unemployment are starting from the same side of the map. They're going from lobby and study side over, looking to full clear these roamers.
Well, so far, no opening death just yet. Already an improvement here for Unemployment. Being a little more passive, just double checking, making sure no one can throw any wrenches into the machine. They were able to just catch a glimpse of Fish on this main stairs. They try to drone him out, but Fish just swings wide, getting another 1-for-1, but quickly traded out by Brios. Oh, he was caught typing in all chat.
That's pretty
Not
funny.
expecting a second person. That is hilarious timing. Brios works off of that quite well, but Wimpy, at the very least, gets a refrag. So, not the end of the world here for Investigation File, as they still have a lot of map control, and they regain the man advantage.
I think that was a second question mark from Fish, too, after
Yes.
the first one. So, you know, Unemployment right now, they are seething. They are irate. So 4 versus 3, Investigation File once again with the man advantage. They lost, they took out the Osa. Pretty big pick. Osa and Zoe, not the two operators you want to lose, although looking at this attacking lineup, I mean, you really don't want to lose anyone on it, so, you know, if you had to lose someone, doesn't really matter at the end of the day. CZ is downstairs looking through floor holes. Unfortunately for him, everyone on the attack has passed over them already. He's not going to be looking, or he's not going to be finding anyone, but here's Tra attempting to hunt him down. It's a little too late, though. CZ has already booked it, and he's back up Astro stairs. So Tra is downstairs. Karn and Brios are looking to try and duo through top red and into statue, but only a minute to go. Nade will go in, and it does not destroy the shield. Doesn't go deep enough, or rather, it did go deep enough, just didn't bank off the wall enough. So still a safe spot for Inrio to sit. However, they still have the nades from below. That's where Tra comes into play. So the shield gone, forces Inrio to back off a bit, but is it enough is it enough sight control for Unemployment to actually get a push off?
I think they'll have to wait potentially for Unemployment to work some sort of play up Astro's stairs, but that default cam just catching out Tra, a very dangerous game of cat and mouse. And if someone gets on that shield, that could be a potential kill, but Wimpy just far enough away from that nade, can be alive for only a few more seconds as Carnage will rip him to shreds with that Type 89.
And that's the man count now, even 3 versus 3, but gas canisters come out from Vivid at the perfect time. 20 seconds left. Last one goes out. That'll completely stall out Statue Door. Now Unemployment have to funnel by Boar, and the Investigation File should be completely aware of this. Freebie for Inrio, looking for another as he pre-fires, just delaying time as he goes. Brios gets the trade, though. Secondary shotgun sucks, so he's not going to get that kill, but CZ gets the trade. 1 versus 1, and Karn is out of time. Investigation File take round number 2 by the skin of their teeth, as Unemployment almost had a comeback.
Still a better round overall for Unemployment, I'd say. They did a much better job at securing proper information. That did eventually manage to let them spot out Fish, although he still found 1 kill. It was an instant trade, whether it be because, you know, you had Brios's gun a little bit hotter than Fish's, or because Fish was just typing on his keyboard rather than using his mouse to find another kill. That's besides the point. They still found some sort of trade. And again, with that proper information, they realized no one was roaming on that first floor, so they could go underneath and maybe establish a little bit more grenade pressure to remove those shields as they were being pinged out constantly with that good information, and maybe find somebody walking up Astro stairs. Only problem, Investigation File, they still had plenty of default information with those cameras available, well. They were able to force back Unemployment for going for that last second lurk play. Hence why the emphasis of having no Nook on the scene parting can be really important. And that forced Unemployment to be a little more vulnerable to those toxic smokes in the final 30 seconds. And again, because Unemployment did take a little bit more time securing that information, they did allow themselves to be a little more vulnerable to those toxic smokes, and not having anyone play inside the master also forced them into a bit of a funnel. So still good composure by Investigation File, but the improvement, it's gradual for Unemployment.
I'm surprised they were able to fight back as hard as they did with the funnel you were just talking about through Boar, but luckily CZ was there to step in, get the refrag, and play smart, knowing that, there was no time. There was nothing that Karn could do at all. So IF rotate down to the tertiary site. We're down in Dining, and it is a full map presence from the defense. At least it was until Wimpy, I believe, started to back off from Study. There's nothing really set up over there, so there's not much of a reason for him to stay once he shot a couple drones. So we'll continue playing over here. Again, like I said, as soon as he starts taking fire, he'll start to back off, which he now will, and join his roamers in Trophy Statue, where is where the majority of the utility and the upstairs hold is going to be for this site.
And Wimpy as a whole so far in this matchup has been rather mobile. We saw him on round 2 getting a little more proactive to guarantee some sort of refrag, to make sure Investigation File still had that man advantage as they were falling back off the roam. And instead, he'll actually be that first point of engagement. Still, as you are currently by yourself, you don't want to really overexpose yourself too much, so he'll fall back just a bit, back up a little bit more with the rest of his teammates, and trying to feed information to CZ so he can maybe work a free kill with that Nitro Cell. However, that's a little bit too short off the mark. Still going to be that 5-on-5, and I thought for a second we might have seen a flank potentially, but that's not going to be the case. But
I think CZ threw the C4. Did he throw it on the indestructible part?
Right on. No, I'd say he threw it like right near skull door. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't think he missed that. It just
Or not Boar skull, yeah. All right. Anyway, unfortunately, not going to hit anyone. They have the spot on Inrio, who's just overstaying his welcome. Wimpy gets caught out as well. Brios just walks right into Statue with nothing stopping him. Maybe IF falling off a bit earlier than they would have liked, leaves their top floor roamers completely exposed. Brios takes advantage of it. So the first opening pick for Unemployment, and it turns out to be a double. CZ's looking to fight back, though. Comes up red stairs, kills Mikey. Tra, the next to go down as well. IQ doesn't really matter in the whole grand scheme of things because there's no pulse being played, which is what Unemployment was probably bringing it for. But losing your sledge like that, not great. Luckily, you've got Brios. He's got the redundancy with the soft breach. You do lose your only set of nades.
now Unemployment ended up getting a bit tunnel vision, perhaps. Now moving down horizontally, perhaps. Carnage beginning to open up that single wall, but I don't think they have any proper utility to break that one mute jammer, so that will still be the main doorway they'll have to deal with. Fish almost spots out Brios. Actually, the angle gets turned against him through the hatch. A triple kill for Brios, but still potential here for Investigation File if they had good info as to how exactly Unemployment want to push in these final 20 seconds.
Ooh, I don't know if they've got time to do this. Karn, you've only got 15 seconds left, and those X-Kairos have quite a long fuse. This plant is going to be right as the clock strikes 0, especially with him taking damage. The defense does not want to allow him in, but he sneaks in Tetris, exposed to Vivid, though. China, Brios gets one. CZ trades, and again, all he's got to do is run away. CZ wins the round off time twice in a row, and it's 3-0 IF.
And once again, I'll start with the positives, I suppose, for I was going to say JJ, because that's what the logo looks like for Unemployment. For Unemployment as a whole, done well by the replays. Brios finding a really good opportunity to catch Investigation File off guard as they were setting up to fall back. I think for Investigation File, they were trying to waste a little bit more time, maybe break some more utility before they eventually fell back down a floor lower, but they were still caught at a bad time rotating by Brios. Really good job to confirm that double kill up above, but Unemployment, they just seemed a bit too focused on confirming that they still had that map control and setting up for vertical play rather than double checking in case some sort of flank is going to happen. They had the drones in the right places, whether they were left there because they didn't want to continue them forward upstairs, or they left them near top red for that actual flank watch, but because no one was cycling cams, that allowed both Vivid and CZ to get active, work two separate 1-for-1s, and all of a sudden put things dead even at a 3-on-3. Sure, Unemployment can go for vertical, but it's not going to grant them as much pressure on the bomb site as they would need. So a lot of those players above still had to rotate down in the next couple of seconds to get those hard walls opened up. And again, that's where the stall potential comes into play for Investigation File. They still had Vulcan packs, they still had decent site pressure overall, and still catching a couple of players off guard, in particular Carnage, who was isolated trying to get that diffuser down. That was just the small opportunity that the defense needed to bring back that round as a win. And to think if there were just more bodies on the board, that could have been a potential win for Unemployment just based off of how well they performed on that top floor clear in the early round.
If Karn maybe had a slightly safer plant spot, I think if he tucked in all the way Tetris, would have been a harder spot for Wimpy. But he was just kind of out in the open. Maybe, again, a victim of the low time you were just talking about, caused him to panic and just get that case down. But either way, positioning from Wimpy and CZ went out the round. So 3-0 for IF. Like we said, IF not as close to being 7-0'd as Unemployment. Unemployment fell 6-0, or rather, Unemployment fell 0-6 to LG on their defensive half of this map. Meanwhile, IF took a 5-1, or took a 1-5 attacking split to Reality TV. So that's where it's real scary, John, because Unemployment are on the side that they actually won rounds on against LG. They got blanked on their defense. So what happens when we switch sides?
Could be a really bad recipe for Unemployment, perhaps. But hey, at least on round 4, they start off on the right foot. Fish, someone who we talked about quite frequently, getting this match set up, is already dead to rights by the hands of Tra, and he's just still holding the same angle, but people continue to peek him, trying to work some sort of refrag. Maybe Inra will have, Inra, he might have a little more success with that 1.5 optic, but he'll think better of it, and instead Wimpy is the person to persist and find some sort of kill for his team. A Nitro Cell lands directly onto Mikey. Sure, a little bit less utility to break through some of those gadgets on the bomb side, but you still have 2 whole sets of grenades and a bit of burn with both Whitlock and Carnage, so not a big deal, I'd say, for Unemployment. The fact that Tra could work 2 separate gunfights from that long angle should be a good start for Unemployment.
I don't know if you saw that. Brios clone tried to come in and get info into maps and missed the player prone. Got shot out before it. So I think that may have been Inrio. So Inrio does get a kill off the position, but he's insta-traded. But the shotgun, Wimpy, the shotgun seemed to have powered up after this last patch, and he just snipes down that player. So 2 versus 2. The SAS operators against Tra and Karn. No C4 for Wimpy, but still Vivid with 2 gas canisters. The time is not low yet, though, but there is still a jammer in play. Tra has both nades, so if Karn wants to get this wall open, he's going to need his sledge to come play with him. It looks like Tra is rotating over to do just that, destroy that jammer on Vault Wall. It gives a lot more opportunity for Unemployment, but then again, if Vivid and Wimpy are holding a crossfire on Vault, there's no way in hell you're going to be able to get in, and there it is. There's a nice angle from inside of Study, meaning that Wimpy can hold on to both the door and the vault wall, but Karn, a beautiful shot onto Vivid, the smoke playing too aggressively. He didn't need to take that fight, and that leaves Wimpy alone with no utility in a 1 versus 2. You can hear the plant start to go down, but he's got to worry about Tra. He doesn't know where the cover is. He's all the way back in 90, watching books. The pre-fire lands. It hits Wimpy's shoulder. The nade goes out as well. A flash to boot. It'll completely force Wimpy off that avenue and force him to relocate, but Unemployment are aware. Another nade goes out, deals even more damage. He's 1 shot from death, destroys the drone, and Karn finishes him. It's the first round for Unemployment.
Starting off the bat of 2 incredible opening kills by Trod, IF just having no clue. Someone's just baiting in that long angle, looking down through the bore window, able to connect 2 separate frags. I assume the second one was to try to work some sort of trade once the info was there. But towards the late round, if Investigation File, in particular Vivid, was just a little more patient, waiting for Unemployment to make that eventual first move, that could have most definitely been a round win. Still having 2 smoke grenades, you could easily deny anyone of walking either through the bar doorway to get into the bomb site, or denying anyone of walking in through vault once that single wall gets opened up. Even if you get the vault wall opened up, you still have to walk into the bomb site to get that diffuser down. You can't plan inside a vault, and having 1 player in Study and the other one behind the bar top table, you could easily stop anyone from working their way in there to try to actually get that case down, unless someone were to maybe walk in through Skull doorway. But again, someone's in Study. They could also watch that angle while someone is covering the bar portion of the map, yet Just that small mistiming on a swing allows Unemployment to grant themselves in that 2 versus 1. Good shot by Karn on both engagements, and good team play off one another once they were able to confirm not only the 2 versus 1, but the 2v1 post plant on top of that too.
I believe as well that was a 3K for Karn.
Yes, because he traded Inrio, I think, and then he got those last two kills.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was the one that traded Inrio, but I think he was. So 3 kills and a plant for Mr. Carnage Brandon Basketball. Amira now into play. IF brings her out. Not the most often played operator on this app. On this app? What the hell? On this map. Mainly due to the fact that a lot of Villa is very destructible. That's why C4s are so important on this map. But it's also why Mira is kind of weak. Because if you see a Mira, you just tend to go below or above, depending on the site, and just destroy it vertically. So we'll see if Unemployment end up doing that. You see people start to extend downstairs. There's a drone hunting for CZ, so those mirror windows might not be long for this world.
I do like the change-up, though, here for Unemployment. Bring out the Nomad. There has been at least 1 or 2 rounds where that potential flank has been an issue, but CZ now being an issue on round number 5 immediately shuts down Brios. One of your only few sets of grenades, and you still need to worry about that mute jammer currently, which is stopping these Kairos charges from breaking off this mirror window. Unemployment currently at a standstill. Not only do they have to worry about this top floor presence, the actual bomb site itself and master bedroom, but still that ever-looming roam presence. For all they know, CZ could still be underneath wreaking havoc and wasting even more time and resources for Unemployment. They have 2 bodies underneath, and they're currently just checking every single corner because they have no idea what they're getting themselves into.
And he's not even downstairs anymore. He's sat on red, but they do get a kill back on the Fish, who, you talked about the mute jammer. I think when he tried to impact the X-Kairos off, he ended up getting the jammer as well. So that frees up the Hibana X-Kairos to go off, but Vivid refrags on the Tra. That cuts down the sledge. No more nades. Now you've got Whitlock, Karn, and Mikey. An entry, a flank watch, and a hard support, but they could pick up the pieces. From below, the shield goes down, but Karn goes down as well. Gas canisters start to come out to try and stall out Astro. A lot of damage being done to Mikey, but he's able to sprint into bathroom and find safety from the gas. But it does separate Whitlock and Mikey. They're now on completely opposite sides of this bomb site. Not a lot of trade potential for them, but the flash comes up. It allows Whitlock to push up, but Mikey falls and CZ comes in for the trade as well. Investigation file extend their lead 4-1.
Still playing incredibly consistent on that trade potential as well. Truly giving up little to no map control unless it is absolutely necessary, especially with investigation file not really overstaying their welcome too much on that roam either. CZ found that 1 impact kill and he just runs off. He knows he can find use later in the round if he just stays alive. And to begin with, Unemployment, they're not fully aware if he's still playing close near Memo, for example, or still near Tetris. So they have to waste more time checking that with drones or just their faces, which could put themselves in an even weaker position. That potential 5-on-3, very deadly, especially if you have no grenades on the board at all. So far, this defensive half has been pretty impressive for investigation file. I think this wasn't even the site that Unemployment ended up winning on. They have only found success on Aviator. As for this site in particular, Unemployment, although they started off well, securing 2 opening kills in the hands of Brios as he caught out the roam game falling back, they still really dropped the ball when it came down to that conversion on the first floor. So if Unemployment don't have a faster clear altogether and a much more concise push to the actual bomb site, this could easily be a 5-1 split for investigation file, Harrison.
Yeah, because this site worked out pretty dang well for him last time. We'll have to see if the upstairs roam is just as ferocious or if Unemployment are just as sluggish in clearing it. Something that I am a little concerned about was the fact that, Tra takes a very forward position on this team despite playing Sledge. And I fear that he's going to be in an even more forward position this round, considering Brios is no longer on entry. He's on Nomad. Whitlock is 0-5. Mikey is 0-5. So Tra's got the most teeth right now, just in terms of both kills and rolls. Brios, as you can see, is the one mainly droning it out, making sure it's clear for his entries to start to move in. Tra died pretty early on in their last attack of this round, and they no longer have the redundancy of the buck.
That was pretty much their saving grace. Like you mentioned, though, still having Brios alive and well definitely going to be a major asset for Unemployment, as he is still one of those main spearheads as a whole. And that flank watch, we saw Investigation reworking that top floor control to put themselves from a 5-on-3 into a pretty winnable 3 versus 3 as a whole. So there is potential for Investigation File to continue to be aggressive if they play their cards right. And so far now, the Nomad only having 2 more air jabs, and might try to use them a little more proactively than just that proper flank watch, and instead just denying certain parts of the map for Investigation File, as they are still on top of this second floor. A minute 30 left, and do they know where Wimpy is currently playing at? He might be able to shut down Whitlock if he walks into Laundry a little too quickly, Harrison.
He destroyed the air jab as well and ran out. They droned him inside of Brick. All right, now is hitting the upside down repel. Wimpy's not moving. He's staying stalwart. He just saw someone in bathroom, and like you said, they still don't know. Rios is playing in bathroom, trying to work his way into Astro. Tra is covering the cross. Inrio's all the way back here, maybe serving as a distraction. Wimpy will let another one go by. I believe there's someone in walk-in closet as well, and that's where Wimpy finally strikes. Whitlock goes down, low HP, but it doesn't matter. Another brilliant headshot. Brios dead. 2 players, all because Wimpy was left unchecked in a small corner of the map. Now trapped by a grenade, looking to take the fight. He goes down to Karn, but not before dealing damage. Tra as well, half HP as he cuts down Fish. Sure, we're even, but the time and the HP is costly.
Just seems like a lot of negatives here facing Unemployment. Even though they have some bit of vertical control, it's not total coverage on that top floor. And like you mentioned, Harrison, they're short on time. They might have no idea that Inrio is up above. Here comes the flank. The sledge has been shut down. Mikey now low in HP, trying to work his way inside a Laundry. Has to rotate over into Bicycle. And Carnage doesn't even have an entryway into the bomb site, but a beautiful shot landed through the floor. But look at the timer. 3 seconds to go. Mikey's in the site, but he's got to stick this defuse, and he can't even hold F properly near Tetris. Investigation Files, they have achieved the 5-to-1 split, and Unemployment still not looking all too strong against their opponents.
And again, a lack of time, a lack of info for Unemployment. Had they just droned Master Bedroom a little more thoroughly, they would have spotted Wimpy before moving in, but they don't. He lets the 2 players go by in bathroom without pulling the trigger. So smart from Wimpy, the trigger discipline, knowing that he's probably not going to land that shot since it's such a slim angle. Why take the risk of revealing his position for something he's just going to miss? Waits for his chance, spots Whitlock. The second kill onto Brios was just icing on the cake. Sure, he goes down and they find the trades, but like I said, the timing and the HP costly, down to 30 seconds by the time they get the not even full top floor control, because Inrio was still up there. And 2 players down to half HP, almost impossible odds for Unemployment. They started to claw it back again with the frags, putting it down to a 1v2, but they lose on time, just like we saw in round 2, just like we saw in round 3. History repeats itself on round 6. Now, here's where the fun begins, Anakin Giff. Because Unemployment got 6-0'd on their defense. IF got 1-5'd on their attack. So, we'll find out whose worst side really is worse.
Your terminology of mid-off might show here on the second half. Might be a bit rude to say that, because Investigation File have looked very good so far in this game.
Plus, the lead might just be so great that, like, if they just trade rounds back and forth, IF just win.
Overall, though, you would definitely see the main reason why Investigation File have looked so good in their defense. Their entries were looking phenomenal. Fish currently getting droned out so he can work from the basement all the way up above, but not having that silent step and having to worry about barbed wire. If he were to continue this aggression on red stairs, he would be confirmed. The drone probably giving away his intentions as well, as you're probably not going to just waste a drone going up red stairs unless someone's not too far behind it. So Unemployment, there is potential for them to work that opening kill, but so far, Fish is just waiting. He's just overplaying his hand, or not overplaying, underplaying his hand, maybe expecting Unemployment to get too aggressive to want to get that 5v4 early on.
I think he's just trying to bait out a rotate. He's not really interested in pushing up just yet.
That sentence.
IF, not pushing from study either, so... Or not pushing from the main side either, so it's not like anyone from Unemployment is going to be too interested in working a flank downstairs. But Fish is still going to wait anyway. just in case, probably expecting a bombardment to come out Whitlock's way, and Fish is just there to catch him on the rotate back. We see 2 players from IF now coming this way. Inrio as well, with a nade set up on Boar. As soon as the utility may be gone from Red, I don't even know if there's any to begin with, then Whitlock is probably a dead man walking, but they don't even need the flank watch. Wimpy just walks on in, confirms the kill, but not before Inrio went down to Brios. So it ends up being an even man count for the last minute.
Still, he's able to get that control over by Skull. Investigation File still taking a lot of time to get in that reconnaissance work, and CZ's still underneath with one more grenade. Not going to connect, but hey, at least it could have been a little bit worse, I suppose. Think about it, but still that 4 versus 4 Investigation File now rotating their way over to Study as well. This does seem to be a decent position for them as a whole, but they have to be really careful about not only those smoke grenades, but also the Vulcan packs as well. That could really force another funnel for the attack.
But Vivid's just planting.
What?
They don't even care. There's
just
no
walked through
utility.
it.
The Vulcan pack misses. The C4 misses too. Brios is cut down on the cover. Fish goes huge. Vivid comes off the plant for a kill. And it's disaster for Unemployment. Karn and Tra gotta pick up the pieces in a post plant. Tra gets one. That's the Study man down, but he can't see through the fire. Can't see the player's skull. Karn will try and wrap around for a flank, but might just reveal his position with those shots. Now you got CZ covering. Vivid gets his 3rd kill of the round. Karn gets 1, but not the 2nd. And IF take round 7.
So early, a match point scenario for Investigation File. Fish just laughing to the bank with these round wins. And I mean, I'd be laughing too. You just walked past this fortitude of Skull Doorway. Vulcan packs, sightlines, smoke grenades, nitro cells. Oh my, you've got everything to worry about, and you're still getting the diffuser down. How does that happen? We have no idea. There was sufficient coverage for Investigation File, but you can't really say the same thing for Unemployment. And although there wasn't a lot of control by 90, for example, they could flank in that direction. After that, you're still looking down a brick wall. So really, when you're at a disadvantage and now in the post plant with no utility, what options do you have? Walk at your opponents and hope that you win those 1-for-1 gunfights, but Investigation File, we're making that really challenging as is. Once that small, I guess, just curtain was pulled back by Investigation File, there really were no other options left except for Unemployment to get their hands dirty, and they just still weren't able to win that round despite trying to get aggressive and work those refrags during a post plant.
You got to give it to Fish, the first man who got a kill on that cover, because Brios was like 2 inches away from getting the angle on Vivid. He was so close to a successful swing, and Fish cut him down just in time, and that allowed Vivid enough time to not only complete the plant, but spring up and nab a kill himself. That was a 3K plus a plant for Charles Vivito. And now it's 6-1, John. A 5-round lead for Investigation File. I mean, sure, they matched their record on attack against Reality TV, but I mean, 5-round lead against a team that couldn't win a single defense against LG. That just doesn't bode well for Unemployment. Investigation File have looked in control of this entire map so far. Even the round they lost was because of, I feel, pretty sloppy play from, I mean, you got to give it to Unemployment for winning the round, but I feel like it was also due to a bit of sloppy play from IF. Other than that, they have been very solid.
I mean, that was the round where 2 people just wide swung Tra on a very attacker-favored angle, so you could look at that glass a little more tinted than expected. But so far from Investigation File, they're trying to be rather proactive on this Study over clear. Fish just waltzes in, grants himself 1 kill. That Rotero drone giving him more space. Down goes the main stairs player. Tra's been downed off screen, and all of a sudden, it's a 5-on-2.
Rios claps back with a kill on Fish, but Tra's finished off by Wimpy. I loved the play with that Rotero drone. You highlighted giving him space, allowing him the map control to go for that swing onto Karn. And the entire offsite hold fell apart in the blink of an eye. Fish is dead, but that's it. You still got to worry about everyone else from IF. The C4 goes out, but CZ gets away. Brios eats a lot of damage from the player on the window and is finished off by CZ. Here's a flank from Whitlock, good for 1, but not for 2. IF will end the map in style, 7-1.
Unfortunately, no clubhouse in sight to give Unemployment that power up they need to beat their opponents. Investigation File, like you and I both have now mentioned, taking Villa by storm and ending out our first best of one pretty quickly, I'd say. And for the most part, their entries as a whole were looking incredible, and everyone really seemed to be doing their job at any given moment. They were taking the map control needed to make sure that Unemployment were not all too comfortable on their roam clears when they were attacking. I mean, a great example was that first dining room defense where you had both, I believe it was CZ and Vivid, working themselves back up above so they could grant themselves that equal man position. Same thing for the other dining room bomb site. It wasn't even them retaking the map control from the first floor going upward. They were still on the second floor, but that lack of information that we saw by Unemployment constantly was their downfall in the first half. And you already have a 5-on-1 split. You have that downward momentum. There isn't a lot left for you. Even moving in on the defensive side when you are relying on one specific feature of your defense, and even then that utility, it didn't even phase IF whatsoever. They would bring out the right tools for the job, like those grenades, like those terror drones, and they would just push past it and take those one-for-one gunfights because they knew they were in a better position to take those engagements once the utility fell down. I mean, just really well done by IF. There's no better way to put it, hence the scoreline 7-1, Harrison.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, speaking of taking the right tools for the job, if you're Unemployment, it doesn't matter what tools you have in the box if you don't know how to use any of them. And IF clearly read into that, played against it. Like you said, if you're down 1-5, you got to have 2 or 3 nuclear rounds as soon as the half switch happens, or like you said, momentum is squarely in your opponent's corner. Got to question the map pick as well. IF, although they lost it to Reality TV, have been historically not a great Villa team, but definitely competent. Like they're far from mediocre on Villa. And sure, they lost to Reality TV 7-3, but you got blanked on your defense. You didn't win a singular defensive round. You have to come into this game thinking, hey guys, we've got to be stand out on attack. We got to make a statement. And their statement happened to be, 3 words.
Yeah.
We kind of suck. So 7-1 is the scoreline. We're going to head it back to the desk and talk about what happened there.
I'll be honest, this is kind of awkward now because we the whole Unemployment vote thing. Cookies, you were supposed to lead us not to temptation but deliver us from evil, okay? And you did the opposite of that.
I mean, you should know by now not to trust me. But it's not our fault, Rim. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. This is Unemployment's fault. It's also really good from IF because one thing I was talking about, let Fish be the commander-in-chief. Listen, I was seeing a bunch of Fish plays. Wimpy's sitting under hatches, walking right through flank. Watch. We got, I think, Enrio from round 1 set the tone. He's standing right on the front door. That's the IF we've been looking for. Who does that? That's the IF we've been looking for. People in 2022 do that, Connor.
Gold ones do that.
That's how you play Siege now. You stand in front of the door, wait for someone to pre-fire it. It's just like, okay. Like, that's what IF's been missing. And I mean, Unemployment, they look like a bunch of fangless, toothless puppies. Puppies don't have fangs, but you get what I'm saying. Their attacks were very unmenacing. Their defenses, once again, there was a 4v4 plant, and it seemed like no one on Unemployment knew until it was too late.
Yeah, that was the next thing I wanted to talk about, Connor, was we did a solid bit on 4v4 plants, and it's like just camera, anything, find out, and then they start on defense. And Connor, the very first thing that happens is a 4v4. But you know what, Connor, ignore that. Investigation File killed it today. Look at these numbers.
Yeah, they looked pretty dang good. Some of the entry numbers, they aren't quite correct, but overall, the early round did look good for the side of Investigation File, especially on those defensive rounds. Poor Whitlock couldn't get in the building. It was just rough. 0-3 on entry because he just would shoot open a door and Enrio was standing there menacingly, or he would try to walk into the kitchen and CZ was sitting in a corner and would just take him out. And it was overall Investigation File. They came and they had that certain energy. They came out here and they played the more modern game. They were actually being aggressive. They were not just sitting there and sitting behind a shield like we always say with the core of this roster. they really like to play behind their shields. There was barely any shields in sight. Unemployment had more shields.
Yeah, you know what? Instead of bringing that 1963 game or that 1975 game cookies, they brought a 1987 version of the game, and I was much impressed by their being up to date and on point. But you know what? Up to date and on point. We got to keep up with the schedule. It's interview time. We got to go to Fish right now. We got to talk to him. Fish, big win for you guys. 7-1 victory. How did that one feel?
Oh, good. You know me. Always feeling good. That was an important game for us to win. Grudge match for me. I wasn't performing, up to par, up to Fish R6 standards. That's why I had to work the chat. You saw me in there typing a little bit.
Yeah, I saw you type and then get murked as you were typing. That's what I saw.
Yeah, all good.
It honestly, it looked like you guys had a plan. You went in, you executed, and you guys just weren't shook the whole time. Is that what it felt like?
Yeah, I mean, we were pretty confident. Like after the first 2 or 3 rounds, we kind of realized, this game's gonna either go 2 ways. We're either gonna win out right here, or it's gonna be a barn burner. But after the timeout, we that one round that we lost, we kind of regained and got more grounded, I guess, and then played more structured, and then closed it out like that.
Mm-hmm. And one thing to note, something that we don't see often, is you guys actually won 3 of your 5 defensive wins on time. Like you guys were able to just keep them out of the door, keep them guessing the whole time. What kind of attributes to that, or is that just sometimes the rounds play out that way?
It's actually funny you say that, because we were talking about the same things, how they play a lot like the Mexican PL teams, and often when we scrim them, nothing really happens till the last 10 seconds of the round. And I think we got lucky because basically we were kind of used to that a little bit, and playing those tight end late round scenarios as well as we could. Some of them were close, but I'm saying we did stay up when we had to. Didn't have to die when we didn't have to.
Well, like I said, big win for you guys. Congratulations, and best of luck for your next couple games.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Have a good one, Fish. Well, we are sitting here eating our own votes, our own prediction votes. But hey, you can't argue. That was an impressive win from Investigation File. 3 more games left on the day. When we go to a quick break, we'll come back to Aqualix taking on Luminosity.